Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the GNOME train.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
And those rails last week, we totally went off it and talked about World of Warcraft a lot. And this week, we will absolutely talk about World of Warcraft. So, Twitter voted in a poll if I should wear this Murloc onesie and all that. And unfortunately, I don't speak Murloc, so I don't know which option won. But I'm wearing it tonight.
There you go.
Well, I am Frazley, and I am joined by DragonsAfterDark. Hey.
Hello.
It's good to have you here, my friend.
It's good to be here. I was excited for this.
I love it. I see people on Twitter that I know, but I don't know enough. And I'm like, I love that I get to learn more about you.
Yeah, that's always fun to learn more about the people that we kind of hang out, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Twitter's hanging out.
Yeah, we're part of the part of Twitter where it seems like it's really cool. I you don't see the jerks there, like, because we either mute them or block them.
Yeah, right.
And you know somebody that's also part of the cool part of Twitter is Epic Insanity. And Epic Insanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have we been up to recently?
They just did the big pet release for the beta, so
yes,
I've gotten no sleep like the last 24 hours or so trying to get our compilation article updated on xu-fus and everything. So I got all the information that they put out. I finally got that finished earlier, right before they shut the server down. So yeah. Came right in there. So I've been on the beta mostly. That's kind of consumed my last week or so.
I was actually in the beta the same time that it went down, because it went down for a good half hour. So it was good that you got in, because then you would have been waiting around for another half hour or more.
Yes.
Outside of WoW, have you seen anything fun or played any games that?
Besides WoW, I don't do too much. I do Beat Saber, so we've got
nice.
I've got an Oculus Rift, so I get some Beat Saber going. I try to, each time I try to best my score a little more. And
yeah,
recently I've been working on doing the ghost ones where the cubes aren't there, and then the arrows, everything disappears when it gets close to you. So I've been working on that one, and so it's funny because once you kind of get the hang of it, that's actually a little better because you're paying so much attention that you're doing the moves a little more with flow than you do if the cubes are there, actually.
Wow. I can relate to that only in one way. Twitch Sings, when I've done it solo, has an ability where the audience can vote a challenge where you have no lyrics and all that. And
oh, okay. Oh,
that's scary.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have you played Alex?
No.
Any plans to? Because Corinza was playing that, and that looks really fun.
The only game I've played for the last 15 years or so is WoW. So I don't really play anything else. I might dabble in stuff, but it's pretty much just WoW. I'm
the same way for the most part. I mean, I play a couple different games different times, but WoW is the main thing that I make content on. And it's amazing how much there is. I mean, just today, I was in there and doing stuff in the new Shadowlands beta. And I won't do spoilers on it because I don't want to spoil anything on it. Mm-hmm. The funniest thing, though, I had a few mobs that I don't know how it happened, but I started this one part of this quest and I got double mobs. So you had all the NPCs that were with you twice. And I got to say also, it scaled up the firepower because we had these mobs that we were going after. And
that's true. I've noticed things hurt. The beginning of expansions are always like that, right? Like the mobs, because your gear is not fantastic, especially with the template characters. And it's it hurts. And I'm glad that I'm playing a really forgiving class. I always main paladins now. And
okay, yes.
So I've got bubbles for days and heals. And I need that. I need that buffer. Because otherwise I'd just be corpse running everywhere.
And I've definitely been corpse running. I'm testing out death because I'm not a warrior, but I don't know my rotation all the time because I use different add-ons that tell me. And
they're new. I know all of my talents are the main part of it's the same, but some of the talents are different. And getting into that flow it's always a little awkward.
Yeah, they've definitely unpruned it, but I got to learn how to add the unpruned it.
Yes.
Going into Legion, we had prune juice, and now wait, prune juice, unpruned stuff. Yeah. One thing that I always love on this show is learning someone's gaming history. And like, we know that you play World of Warcraft a lot, but how did you get into gaming?
My very first memory of playing a video game was Duck Hunt at my grandfather's house. So he had a system there, and I remember that I was I was bad at shooters even then. I'd get super close to the TV so that I could aim better. I was like 7. I don't remember how. I was maybe not 7 because he died when I was really young. But that's my first memory of gaming. The only other game that I've played as much as WoW is Legend of the Dragoon, and I would love to see a remake of that game. It's so good. Like, even looking at the cinematics now, they're still really good.
Yeah.
I wish they'd remake that game. It's excellent.
Which platform was
PS1.
PS1? Okay, because I just saw Dragon Quest. One of the ones is being remade for Xbox and PC today, because I was watching the Xbox events.
Okay.
So I can see, well, I would still probably be Sony, but it's amazing a lot of things that were Sony are going to Xbox and PC.
Yeah, aside from WoW, Legend of the Dragoon's my favorite game, and I loved all of the additions and the combos, and I wasn't always the best with it, but like getting those squares just perfect. But it was a really good game.
I keep carrying, I assume that's Amanda, because I think Monica's asleep. They were saying that Legend of Dragoon is their favorite game. They had to stop playing Mario Kart so I could tell you that. And they said that you are their new favorite person because no one else knows Legend of Dragoon.
It's excellent, and like even for them, the graphics were great. The storyline was fantastic. It was just it was a good game all around.
Nice. So from there, how did you get into like Blizzard / World of Warcraft?
My uncle, who also passed away when I was young, he actually played like StarCraft and Diablo. Like, some of my best memories are, sitting back and watching him playing Diablo. Yeah. And like the Tristram theme, that hits major nostalgia notes for me. But for World of Warcraft specifically, I joke that it's the best thing to come out of one of my ex-boyfriends from high school, because he was playing and he said, well, you're going to play. I'm like, okay. So he bought me the game. He just kind of threw me into it, right? He was like, here's the game, figure it out. And so while I joke that I played in vanilla, but I'm not a vanilla player, because I pretty much just ran around the Barrens on my troll shaman, just like I didn't leave the Barrens. Yeah. And then when Burning Crusade finally dropped, there were a couple of people who were leveling their blood elves, and they were coming through the Barrens, and they took pity on me, and they kind of really showed me how the game works. And I was a raid healer. Those were the days where you're in Mount Hyjal and you're just spamming chain heal, and you're like popping the meters on your shaman. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into World of Warcraft. I joked that it was the best thing that came from my ex-boyfriend.
Absolutely. And I can bet, being in the Barrens, you knew where Mancrook's wife was.
Yeah, I did. It was no problem at all.
Nice. And I can relate in like one way. Like, I did do raiding in dungeons, but I feel like I never knew the mechanics of like even the classes back in vanilla. Like, I feel like I just like button mashed or just something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're hitting buttons, and it's all right. Like I said, I played in vanilla. I'm not a vanilla player.
Yeah. I always wonder how I did so well, how there was even a guild that let me on a raid team. I don't know.
I joke at this point that the only reason I'm as decent in the game as I am is just by sheer force of how long I've been playing the game.
Exactly.
I just kind of bowl my way through because I'm like, I kind of know how this works. I'll be okay.
Must be like some like math equation. Should be like, yes, doing all this stuff. Yeah. Time equals experience equals.
Right. Exactly. Just by sheer force of having played for, I don't know, at this point, because I've been playing for longer than I've been married, and I've, been married for 14 years. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Wow. So in World of Warcraft, that I know you do pet battles, but what would you say is your play style in World of Warcraft?
It's funny because it's an MMO, but I pretty much do everything I can solo. Yeah. I don't do much. I do more like collecting. Obviously, I've got most of the pets at this point, so I'm kind of working my way through mounts through expansions. I did, Vanilla and Burning Crusade. I played the most in Burning Crusade. I didn't have a whole lot to get for that expansion. But I just finished Wrath, and so I'm in Kata, and I'm trying to get that raptor from Zul'Gurub, and it's not dropping. And I hate that gauntlet with the boulders going down the hill.
I do too. Because I'm doing the exact same thing on my mount runs. So do I? So I take it that you're doing the strategy Spaz is, because Spaz Weston is going expansion by expansion until he gets that all finished.
That's what I'm working on right now. I don't do too terribly much else. I do mount runs, I do pet battles, and that's about it.
And you do an amazing job with that. I mean, because it's like over 800 guides. That is.
Yeah, I have over, I think my last count was 822 strategies on the site. And I don't even have a strat for every single fight. So that tells you how many different fights there are for pet battles. It's a lot. Yeah.
In gaming, what would you say is one of your favorite gaming memories, aside from talking with Hawkeye, Stone, and Grand Negus, who he wanted me to say hi to you tonight. Okay. But I remember us being at BlizzCon, and there was like a 45-minute discussion on pet battles. So aside from that, what is your favorite gaming memory?
Ooh, oh man, I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily have one favorite. And, each expansion brings something new, brings new favorite memories and new experiences and everything. For the most part, I don't know, getting to stay up late, hanging, especially expansion launches. Those are always great memories, because even if, people kind of leave, toward the end of an expansion, the middle of an expansion, you all kind of come back together for an expansion launch. And so you get to hang out with people that maybe you haven't hung out with in months. And so expansion launches are pretty much, they're always fun. I mean, if you can get into the game.
Exactly.
And even if you can't, you get to talk with people, so it's fun.
BFA was better than the classic launch, because classic launch was a huge queue. But BFA, I get pretty much rolled over, and we were all on there for 24 hours.
Exactly. So those are always good memories.
Brings back old friends, people that drop off from the game, but they get excited for that new expansion. Exactly.
And I think this one's going to be really good. I'm liking everything so far, so I think we're going to see a little bit more of an influx.
Yeah. Oh, me too. And yeah, kept saying it's always fun starting running into people, the folks that they started playing with 16 years ago.
Yes.
So one thing that we touched on, but I want to learn a little bit more, is that you write news articles, strategy guides for xu-fus pet guides.
Yes.
So first off, when did you realize you had a passion for pet battles?
So it's kind of funny, because I got into it really late. I didn't play too terribly much in actually 3 expansions. So Mop and Kata, and I wasn't around, it was around, but I wasn't really doing much. And so I didn't really come back and get into the game again until toward the end of Legion. So at that point, nobody's doing much. There's not a lot of groups running stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll look into the pet stuff and everything. And it was kind of funny, because I was trying to work on the achievements. For the most part, I was kind of able to cobble together stuff to work with the roster I had. But Gloamwing, that fight on Argus, was the one fight where I couldn't get anything to work. So I had to go out. I had to get that specific pet. And that was actually how I found the xu-fus site. And, when you're first starting pet battles, it's kind of you look at these strategies that people make, and you're like, this is magic. I don't know how these people do this.
Yes.
But once you start doing it more, and you kind of get into it, and you see the patterns and the counters and everything, and learn the strategies, you get a little better at, figuring out, oh, that's how that goes. And so once I got all my achievements, I noticed that people tended to use the same pets. And I'm like, well, I've got this really big roster. Why not use all these other pets that I have? Why not try and come up with strategies using pets that maybe no one's using? And so that's kind of how I got into it, is I was like, well, I have all these pets. I don't want to use the same, 50 pets out of a roster, because I think at that point I had 700-ish unique pets.
Wow.
So I have a lot more at this point.
Yeah.
So it was just why only use these pets? So I started making strategies for the Argus fights, and then I kind of hit my stride with that and got into it, and started commenting like, "Hey, this is what I noticed with your strat." And then that's when Aranesh kind of took notice of me. So Aranesh is the founder of xu-fus. So
Okay.
he's the one who made the site way back in MOP and everything. So he saw that I was commenting a lot and trying to kind of be helpful. Invited me to join the team, and at first I was just strategy curator, and they were looking for a news writer, and I'm a writer, so I was like, yeah, I'll start writing the news, and then it just kind of exploded from there.
So timing of that, because you mentioned Argus, so that would be like the end of 2017, right?
Yes. I'm not. I don't know. I'm really bad with dates.
Because I love that, though, like, because you see like a lot of content creators who like have been there for years, but you started relatively recently compared to like preach about it, but you have so much knowledge, and like you started because you had that fun. I love that there's always room for somebody to come into the community.
Yes, exactly.
So in this, what would you say has been an obstacle that you've had to overcome in writing these?
So I think my biggest obstacle is because, pet battles have been around since MOP, and they've gone through changes and everything. There are people in the community who have been doing pet battles since MOP, and here I come in at the end of Legion, and I'm just like, and trying to take my place among them. I think my biggest obstacle is, at first, I didn't really look into guides too much, so there are certain gaps in my knowledge because one of the big things that people look forward to are super squirt days. Basically, when Squirt's in Garrison and you've got the pet battle bonus week and you can get crazy amounts of pets leveled, but I never did that. I mean, I never used that because I never really leveled in WoD. I just got my Pathfinder for them.
Nice!
I got it. I think I got it, and then a month later, they were like, "Oh yeah, well that's not going to be a requirement anymore." And I was like, "Well, I was so glad that I ground all that out. Thank you for that." I didn't necessarily go about it with guides and the normal way of doing things, and so I know a lot, but I do have certain gaps that come into play there. But at the same time, the pet community is a really nice, welcoming community. There's people always more than willing to help as long as you're willing to go, okay, yeah, I made a mistake there. Thank you for letting me know. And you just, as long as you're willing to listen, they're more than willing to, help you and teach you. And, it's just a good community.
I've seen that. Like, I can't say that like I'm like invested in the pet community, but I've seen on Twitter, I've seen the interactions, and it really does seem like a good group. Like, in fact, you're on the Discord server for Warcraft Pets and xu-fus.
I am, yep.
And did you tell me that you're a mod in both of those?
Yes, I'm a mod, obviously, in xu-fus. That kind of comes with being, part of the staff. But they just asked me to be a mod on the Warcraft Pet site as well. I don't do anything with the website. It's just Discord. But yeah, they invited me to do that because they were like, we'd really like you to be part of the team and everything. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really awesome because they're all people that I love interacting with. So being able to, be part of that with them it's a good feeling. Yeah,
because like, isn't one like a Pommy Tappet?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, because I know I've known them for so long on Twitter. I can't say like that we've interacted over voice, but I've known them for so long.
Yep.
What would you say has been one of the best things since you started doing all this?
Even though I do a lot of things solo, and pet battles it's a very solo sort of thing in the game, is just getting to know, new people in a new aspect of the game and having something to discuss with them that you're all interested in. I don't know, that's really fun for me because before that there was I usually always have one person that I play with. So for a while it was one, and then I kind of fell off the map, and then when Classic came in, he was playing Classic, but then I had someone else. There's a little overlap there, but it's nice having people around who like discussing things that you're all interested in. I mean, it just makes it more fun that way.
Yeah, you have a shared interest.
Exactly, yep.
And would you say that you talk more out of game than even in game?
Yeah, actually, I don't have very many of them on my BattleNet. Like, I don't have them on my BattleNet stuff really at all. So mostly, yeah, it's mostly in Discord. So that's where we pretty much all communicate. One of the cool things about the beta, though, and PTR, when stuff's coming out on the PTR, is that it's cross-region.
Yeah.
So some of the people that I don't necessarily get to interact with in-game because they're EU and I'm NA, we do get to interact in, like, the beta and stuff. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool, is having that cross-region stuff come in for beta and PTR.
And all the collectibles is one reason why I've been tempted to get like an EU account, because I know like Hottie Chicken's done it, Michael's done it, and I'm like, yeah, but then I don't have all my collectibles, and I don't want to be farming for those again.
Yes. I have an EU account as well for when I was streaming regularly. I was farming to do giveaways, and I'm like, oh, that's not very fair to just farm on, NA and then not have anything to give to EU players. But when you get over there and it's like one character, you have absolutely nothing. It's like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
and Amanda, I mean, to do the EU, and I mean, that might change. It might change because it is nice to play with your friends over there, like Amanda, Pete, Michael. It is interesting, this cross faction, but also cross-region social networking we have outside of the game. Discord, Twitter. We never had that when we first started.
No, it was definitely very like secular, right?
Yeah.
Like, NA didn't really react or interact with EU and vice versa. And because even our forums are separate, we don't even have access to the same forums. Although amusingly enough, I don't have access to the Shadowlands beta forums on NA. But I do on EU with my EU account. So yeah, I can't reply or anything. I can't give any feedback on our forums, but I can on EU. So I might have to give feedback over there.
And do you have beta on EU?
I don't know if I do, but what's amusing is my husband's super old account. He hasn't played since like the beginning of Wrath. That one got a beta invite, and we can't even access that account anymore. And it got a beta invite. So
some of the algorithm on the beta and alpha perplex me.
Yeah. I would feel like if someone hasn't been around since Wrath, like the beginning of Wrath, I don't think they're coming back.
Yeah.
Chances are.
And I've got some friends who every day will post from the social sharing function, and it's like, you would think that they'd be like, okay, this person is really sharing, so of course, if we get them into the beta, they may actually promote the game more, because hey, I don't work at Blizzard though.
Yeah, right.
And Amanda has said that you are their favorite person now, and I told Amanda it gets even better because you also have a website called Legends of the Wordsmith, and you have writings, like you have the tales of
Gotthold and Quirkart, yeah.
Yes. So how and when did you get into writing?
I actually have been writing for as long as I can remember. Another memory from my grandfather, because he was one of those people who actually both of my grandparents on so my mother's father and then my father's mother, very technologically inclined. And so he had a computer, he had game systems and stuff. And so one of my first memories is writing on one of the first home computers that you could have that wasn't just the programming base. It had some kind of notepad or something, not notepad itself. I don't know if that was out yet, but I remember that. And so I've been writing for as long as I can remember. I didn't think about doing much with writing until I was in 6th grade. And we had to write a story. The teacher said it could, whatever you want, it just needs to be a couple pages long. And so I wrote a story and I turned it into her, and she called me up to her desk. And when you're in school and you get called up to the teacher's desk and everyone's like, oh. Yeah. So I get called up to the desk and she said, you need to keep doing this. You're really good at this. And so, I wish I could. I don't think she's on social media. I don't even know her first name. I wish I could thank her because it hadn't even crossed my mind to do something like that. So she sort of encouraged me. And so I've been writing all my life.
Wow. And yeah, if she could hear that now, that would be, I mean, because to leave a legacy like that, I mean, I'm tearing up. I love that.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was a great teacher.
I can remember a few teachers who like encouraged me on some of the stuff that I'm doing now. I mean, yeah, it's amazing when a teacher is able to give you that drive.
Absolutely.
So then when did you make the website and start writing online?
So I had one website before that one. I actually don't remember what domain it was, but I think the first website I created in 2014, and then 2 years later, I moved everything over to this website. So I think I've been posting on there since 2016 or so.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Do you ever like go back and read your older writings?
I do, and sometimes I'll even edit them. The thing with writing is it's really difficult to self-edit, and the reason it's difficult to self-edit is because your brain will insert what you mean to put there, which is why one of the tricks to editing is reading it out loud as you're going through it, and you're going to catch mistakes easier that way, but still self-editing is really difficult. And so, but one of the things you can do is, if you have the time and you're not trying to like post stuff weekly, is write the story and then put it away for a few months so that your brain kind of cleanses itself of like what you meant or what was going on, and then go back through and reread it. And so you've got enough of a reset there that the editing is a little easier. You're going to catch mistakes and plot holes and things like that a little better. But
I did that during college composition, and like it wasn't a month, but it was like a couple days. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're right. That is really weird because your mind's like, "Did you write that? Like I forgot I even wrote that sentence."
Yeah. So there's sometimes I'll go back through and I'm like some of it, it's like, okay, that was pretty decent. It just needs a little cleaning up. And some of it, I'm like, yeah, we're taking you down. You're not. I don't think we need you. The world doesn't need to see this. We're going to put you in the vault for a little while. Maybe we'll come back and fix that mess. But it's just like with writing or doing pet battle strategies. It's like, you're not going to hit a home run every time. You know, there are some people who can, you know, they're like excellent baseball players who, you know, home runs every single time. But, you know, anything in life, you're not going to hit it out of the park every single time. And so I've got some pretty good stories. I've got some okay stories, and then I've got some not so good stories.
One strategy that I remember from writing is free association. And I'm curious, like, is that something that like you use?
Well, I've heard the term. I don't know that I've ever used it. See, this is just like with the pet battles. I have what they call, it's sort of like the craft. So I have a natural inclination on how things flow and go together and how stories are put together and how a sentence should look. So when it comes to the technical aspect of writing, I'm not that great because I'm like, in school, I didn't actually learn all of the rules for English. I'm just like, no, this is how the sentence should sound. Yeah. And I was always right. So I don't know the rules or necessarily all the terms, unfortunately. And
I can relate on like some of the stuff like some of the stuff I'm doing, like with streaming on podcasts. I learned here, but I also like tried some of my stuff, and I'm always learning like, oh, I probably should have done it that way when I'm learning like new rules.
Exactly. Yep.
I have to thank like one of my best friends, Amanda, who's in chat. I do a weekly thing for our podcast network's newsletter, and it's invaluable having somebody giving me feedback on some of the things that I'm like, I think it looks good in my head. Or
yeah,
and it's like,
exactly.
No, you might want to modify that.
That's my husband for me. So anything that's posted on the website has probably, maybe not always, but has usually goes through him first. He doesn't hold back, right? Like, he's not mean, obviously, but he doesn't hold back on like, hey, this isn't right. This sounds like this to me. You know, maybe you should think about how this looks. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, you're right. And sometimes I will fight him to the last on certain things. I'm like, no, this is the way it is. And it's a give and take process.
Yeah. And I think that's the way it should be with any feedback. Like, unless you're absolutely in the wrong, and be like, I see what you're saying, but I'm still going to do this. Yeah.
No, I'm going to die on this hill. Sorry. That's the way this is going.
Absolutely. How do you overcome writer's block in your writing?
I don't. I'm definitely one of the, like, they say tortured artists or they produce the best work, and that's just not true. When I'm down, I'm down. I don't want to write. I don't want to do anything. I think, like, the best advice is just write something. Like, if it's just 10 words a day, if you can only get 10 words a day out, if you can get one sentence, then just do that. Don't beat yourself up about not being able to get, like, 1,000 words every single day. Like, I don't remember who it was, but my husband told me about it. There's one really famous writer who he's like, I write 200 words a day. That will eventually get you to your goal, whatever your goal is, short story, flash fiction, novel, setting that just 10 words, get 10 words or get 20 words. Be realistic. Don't say, I'm going to write 2,000 words today, because there are going to be some days where you can get out 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 words. But then there are other days where, where it's going to be a struggle to get that sentence, and don't edit as you write. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't edit as you write.
I've learned that because, like, I learned just get your thoughts out, then go back through, and I will use like some tools. Like I'm using, like, right now, Language Tool Plus. It's not perfect because sometimes it gets weird on its syntax.
Yeah,
but it is helpful. Like, I realize when I DM people, I will sometimes forget who I'm actually saying. Like do this. I'm like, and someone's like, I can't do it. I'm like, no. I mean, I'm gonna do this. You're all good.
Yeah.
The Tales of Corkheart and
Godhold. Yeah.
So that's fan fiction. So
it is.
Is this your first fan fiction?
No. I have a few on the site. So I actually started writing World of Warcraft fan fiction when it had its own forum. Like, there used to be just a forum for fan fiction. And then unfortunately, they combined the fan fiction and role-playing forums, which, I mean, from their point of view might make sense. From mine, it didn't, because the role-playing aspect of it goes so fast. Yeah. That your fanfic, it just kind of gets buried. And then there was, I don't remember who, I can't remember the name, but there was a community manager on the fanfiction forums who would put out writing prompts and stuff. And so that's how I got started. Is I do a lot of my work from writing prompts. Like the story I just wrote the other day, Harmless, is what I do is I take a writing prompt and then I create a story within a world that, I have envisioned in my head. And I pretty much always make it fantasy. Like, I can twist any writing prompt into a fantasy story, because that's what I write. I write mostly fantasy. But fan fiction, that's how I got started, was when the fan fiction forums was its own thing. And then I kind of progressed from there, and I made a set of micro stories for each of the classes for WoW. So I have a micro story for every class. Some of them aren't necessarily classed as micro stories because they're a little long. But so I did that, and then I have the Corkheart and Godhold, and so I'm working on that one right now. I'm leveling them kind of through Drustvar, and they are characters that I actually have in game. They are in game characters, so.
Oh, that's cool, because I know Josh Mifune and Professor Talib do that. They have their characters they talk about on the halfway report in game. Yeah. What is it like writing fan fiction?
People will try to say that fan fiction is garbage or it's not real writing, but it comes with its own challenges, because writing within someone else's world, it kind of sounds easy because all the world building's done, right? And so you just have to create a story in this world, but at the same time, you have to be aware of those, those limitations, and especially in WoW with all the lore and everything. If it's just a world where there's, maybe not a whole lot of detail, and you can kind of get away with doing, certain things, making your own rules or what have you. Of course, some fan fiction writers don't care. They just kind of throw that out the window and they do whatever they want. But I try to keep it within the confines of, of the world and the lore and everything. And so that's one of the challenges for me in fan fiction, is creating a sandcastle within this sandbox that someone else has without toppling all of the other little sandcastles over. So that's the challenge for me in fan fiction. But it's fun, because it can help with your writing skills, and it kind of gives you this net where you don't have to think of all of the details. You can just focus on writing a good story without having to worry about, especially in epic fantasy, coming up with all of these little rules and specifics in, different cities. And so that's what's enjoyable about fan fiction to me.
And I can imagine that like it helps that like the reader's able to use the context of what they know about the fan fiction.
Exactly. Like there are some things you can just kind of take on faith that people are going to know, right? Like you don't have to describe Stormwind to people because people have been there. They know what Stormwind looks like. So you can just kind of say, walking down the lane in Stormwind, so-and-so was, going to the blacksmith or what have you. You can just kind of take certain details on faith, knowing that people have been there in game. And so that's really nice.
And Cap Frank is about a point, and I agree that like that truly good fan fiction is better than some professional writing. And I'm like, I would totally agree.
I agree too, because when you're writing fan fiction, you're expressing a passion for something that you really like. And it's hard to say that anything that comes from that kind of that place, that passion is a bad thing. And, I think writing from that perspective can really bring out some really good writing.
In all of the writing, how do you get past that voice inside your head?
Imposter syndrome? Like,
exactly, yes.
You're actually really trash at this. I mean, I'm like everybody. I have my bad days, right? Where I'll be writing something and I can't get the idea out the way I want it, and things just aren't flowing, they're not going. I have those low moments where I'm like, I don't even know why I bother with this. I might as well just shut the site down. Nobody visits it, nobody reads anything. It's not always just kind of shutting that voice down, because that voice is going to happen, right? Like you can't necessarily control those instant thoughts that come into your head, but it's just kind of looking at that and going, maybe nobody's reading, because I mean, you can see the traffic on your website, right? You're like, oh, haven't had any views in like 10 days. But at the same time, it's kind of knowing that, maybe I'm not so good at it right now, but if I want to be good at it, then I need to keep going. Like if some person came over and they were like, wow, this story's trash. And I'm like, I mean, okay, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
But it's just acknowledging that and going, okay, so maybe right now I'm not a great writer, but I'm not going to get any better if I don't write. If I stop, it's not going to get any better. So you have to just kind of keep going and just acknowledge it and move forward.
I was listening to an episode of Geek Caring, and they had a artist, Molly O'Reilly. Check them out on Instagram and Twitter because they're really cool. But they had a thing about like inspiration and just get in there and you may not be feeling it in the studio, but do something. I was like, yep, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, you might not be feeling like just do a sentence.
Yeah.
And one sentence at a time. It might take you a while, but it'll get you there. It'll get you there eventually.
And maybe sometimes it helps that if you're feeling writer's block, maybe it helps to go to the gym and do boxing.
Yeah.
Do boxing. I'm like, that's such a cool hobby. So how did you get into boxing?
I had this at-home program. It's called Les Mills Combat, and it was one of the few at-home workouts because I did not like going to the gym. I don't like working out in front of other people. Like, it's kind of, nobody's looking at you. Like, everyone's sweating. So not everyone's miserable, but anyone who just exercises to, feel better, not necessarily to, to look fantastic. And there are other miserable people there at the gym just trying to get through that workout.
Exactly.
But they're not worried about you. They're worried about getting through it, getting done, getting home. I still don't like working out in front of other people. But the at-home workout, that was the one kind. And that was more sort of like MMA focused as opposed to boxing. And I can't do a lot of that for the lower body because I have a back injury. It's over a decade old. It's not getting any better. So I have to be really careful and really precise about my movements. But with the boxing, I got in there. The first company that owned the gym, it was kind of more like boxing Zumba.
Okay.
So you were hitting the bag, going to a beat and certain, moves and whatnot. It wasn't like real boxing training type stuff. But this new owner that took over, he has like an actual boxing gym. He has someone who fights in the UFC, So they're teaching you a lot of like the really technical aspects of it, which I enjoy. I think my biggest problem is I don't like not being good at something. And so having to learn all these technical aspects of it that I hadn't learned before within my physical limitations, it can pose a challenge for me, but nothing can make you feel better like putting your wraps on, putting your gloves on, and just hitting a bag, just going to town on the bag. Like, you're pretty much always going to feel better after beating on the bag a little bit.
You found one of your outlets for that stress.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's so important because otherwise, if you don't, it's going to come out in other ways in your life.
Yep.
Well, this is one of the ways that I get like stressed out because I get to talk with people and I can't believe it. It's already got to the end of the show and my Murloc head fell off.
Oh no.
I was sweating the whole time in this costume.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, you're always moving, and I was like, it's like a onesie. He's gonna be hot.
Yes. Oh, and Amanda loves boxing, boxercising, anything.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's hard to, and I sparred for the first time the other day, and so that was a lot of fun. It's one of those. I'm not terribly good at it because there's a difference between hitting the bag that's not going to hit you back and then getting in the ring with someone who will hit you back.
And Amanda's saying, honestly, I've never heard an interview with someone I'm legit saying we are the same person. I'm like, I never know because like I don't see Amanda right now. I mean, Amanda's typing, but you could be typing right now. You could be Amanda.
I could. You never know. I could absolutely be.
And Jennifer does dancing, and Amanda almost did white collar boxing. And Gamers Logical does Taekwondo and Kung Fu. And I used to do ballroom dancing. I mean, it's incredible.
Dancing is one of those things I won't ever do that out in public. Like maybe I'll do it at home. No, that's not going to be a thing I do in public because I'm not good at it.
It definitely takes a long time to get it, and like having like I can move my hips, but only because I got comfortable with doing it because
exactly.
These showcases, and that's the most terrifying thing. Well, until you get the Twitch. Then when you get the Twitch, that's even more terrifying then. And after doing Twitch, actually, when I did the showcases, I was less terrified. I was like, oh, there's like 40 people here. On Twitch, there could be thousands. You never know.
Oh, yeah, right? Like, you could get raided, and they could have, like, they could drop 1,000 people in your chat, and you're like,
like, hi, I'm so-and-so.
I don't remember my name, but welcome.
Yeah, I do something. I play games.
I play, I hit the keys, use the mouse a little bit.
So if somebody were to be rating your Twitter and your site, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I'm at, I think it's DragonsAfterDark on Twitter, because they only let you have so much stuff for your app. Yeah. So I'm on Twitter. I'm in a few different Discord servers, so obviously Warcraft Pets and the xu-fus Discord. I'm also on the Secret Finders Discord in the Battle Pet channel. I'm on Hazelnutty's Discord server.
Oh, nice.
I'm on your Discord server.
Yes.
I'm in a lot of different places, but primarily Twitter and Discord are the best places to find me. And
if they want to find your pet guides and your website, where can they find those at?
Those should be on my Twitter, my profile page. So the link to my writing stuff is going to be in the bottom section next to the location. And then the xu-fus guide is going to be in my bio.
Perfect. Because, I was reading your site beforehand, and I love writers, so it's fun. I'm listening to Shadows Rising, and I'm like, wow. I won't spoil anything because I'm not that far anyway into it either. Thank you again for joining me on here. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And to anybody that thinks I'm making up the 45 minutes at BlizzCon, no, it was 45 minutes on Pet Battles. And I was like,
it was a while.
Only at BlizzCon in front of the fountain. Like, it was perfectly cool. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't understand more than like 25% of what they said, but I loved it. I was soaking in your energy.
Right. Yeah. It's like I said, it's always fun to talk to people about things that you enjoy and, being able to impart a little knowledge on someone who, maybe that'll inspire them to go and try out pet battles.
Absolutely. I'm inspired to get into it because I'm doing those mount runs. So this is one of the next things I got to do is pet battles.
Yep.
Activating customized 4% transporter.
Well, I am back in my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon.
Yeah, I'm a gnome.
The July is about to leave us, which means it's time to glance into August for what's coming in the world of Warcraft.
Let's see what the wondrous, mysterious Kilrock site foretells of the upcoming events in Azeroth.
Thank you for joining us on Kilrock Site, the upcoming events for August in World of Warcraft. Darkmoon Fair starts August 2nd to the 8th. Come to the Deathmatch Pavilion and see the epic battle to win the Darkmoon treasure chest. Only one lucky person can win the chest. Every 3 hours, a new chest will be set up, so take a seat and watch or take part in the deathmatch for your glory. The winner will get a Pitfire trinket. If a person wins 12 fights and holds on to all those Pitfire trinkets, they can exchange it for a Master Pitfighter trinket. And after they come back and win again, you will get a PvP heirloom trinket. Return the champion. Who will win this fight? No one will know. Good luck, guys! And there's many more achievements and mounts and pets to collect. August micro-holidays are coming up. Free t-shirt day. Head to your main city, Stormwind or Orgrimmar, on August 16th for your free t-shirt. A city entertainer will be shooting out free t-shirts using a t-shirt cannon. It looks like we can learn these appearance for these t-shirts, and there's about 22 of them. This is the first micro-holiday that you can learn and keep something. Trial of Styles, August 31st to September 4th. Do you think you have what it takes to be the best and stylish person? Why don't you and a few friends, up to 5, try the Trial of Style? There's a few themes, and whoever's best dressed for that theme can win the Trial Style token. You can use these tokens for transmog or some items to decorate the stage to make you stand out more. There are 3 different transmog tokens for each armor type, and hopefully more in the future. The weekly bonus event for August is Battle for Azeroth Dungeon Event, July 28th to August 3rd. Final boss in each current expansion dungeon will award an extra item. Pick up the quest that requires you to complete 4 Mythic or Mythic Plus dungeons for a chance of an extra upgraded gear. Pet Battle Bonus Event, August 4th to the 10th. Triple your XP for your pet battle. Quest is winning 5 level 25 PvP pet battles for an ultimate pet battle training stone. Time Walking Dungeon Event, August 11th to the 17th. Cataclysm needs to be level 86 or higher. Finish 5 Time Walking Dungeon rewards Azerite. Time Warp badges currency for things in game. You can find a vendor in Cata portals in Stormwind and Orgrimmar. Arena Skirmish Bonus Event, August 18th to the 24th. 15% more honor awarded. Win 10 arena matches to rewards Azerite and Conquest. World Quest Events, August 25th to the 31st. You get 50% more rep doing World Quest. Quest to complete is 20 World Quests and rewards Azerite. There is no main holidays in August. This is it for Kilrock Site. And have a wonderful, summery, hot August.
Thank you, Emma.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. Runs for the Unencrypted Voidwing are happening right now. Follow @FriendshipMount on Twitter to find out when the runs happen. Make sure to get your AOTC before the Unencrypted Voidwing takes flight with the Shadowlands pre-patch. Each group is raising money for different charities. Perky Pugs is one of the groups that's running, and they've raised over $7,600 for Rain this month. They've opened a Teespring store, and through July 31st, 100% of proceeds will go directly to Rain. Our good friend and fellow warrior, Just Mephisto, is doing weekly weekend AOTC carries. They're doing Horde on Saturdays and Alliance on Sundays, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific until the Shadowlands releases. And he is raising money for the Joyful Heart Foundation, and they've already raised $4,000. At the end of a recent charity stream, Just Mephisto rated me and got me the 100 viewers achievement. And then Wildhead says that Pieces and the Galilix have teamed up for a EU Nyalotha giveaway. They said this giveaway runs through July 29th at 1500 CEST. One winner will be drawn from each on the next 2 Wednesdays, July 22nd and July 29th, and you'll be able to join Pieces on one of its Monday Mythic Nyalotha kills. And Wildhead had an interview with James, who plays WoW on Twitch, as James himself puts it, completely blind. The interview talks about their experience playing and all the add-ons and tools James uses to be able to play WoW blind. I love this. And the amazing people overcoming disabilities doesn't stop there. Icy Veins reports that Professor Flips was able to tank and kill Mythic N'Zoth with just one hand. They have Arthro Griphosis Multiplex Congenita, and they shared their experience and what they did to make this kill happen. Hogspring on Twitter brought to my attention an event starting next Sunday, August 2nd, called Tournament of the Ages on Moonguard. I have a link in the show notes to the event, but it's an annual event apparently. I think this is the one that I've heard stories of over the years from other RPers. It's the one that's held at the Argent Dawn tournament in Northrend. I think Zords has been there, or maybe Raz. I've heard different RPers mention this. And Jay the Bard is back with yet another amazing WoW synthwave track. This one is for Karazhan, and you are hearing just a sample of it. Jay has allowed streamers to play this song along with the other synthwave soundtracks that he's made on their streams. Keep up the great work, Jay! Continuing on the creativity front, Wowhead has a look at I'm a Dreamwalker's latest drawing of Razor Hill along with their past work. And Wowhead shows how the work draws from the art of D&D book covers. Wow, great job on these. I love the reimagining of these classic scapes. And Stormbart is back with the Broken Isles, Kotiras, and Zandalar created into topographic maps. Icy Veins shows the latest work by Stormbart, and wow. And Icy Veins has mapped out even more amazing art for us to look at. They found Gay Volcano on Reddit has made 3D render maps of the Eastern Kingdoms. These remind me of the ones I see in national parks visitor centers here in the United States. The ones that they tell you not to touch or climb on. And then the Art of Warcraft on Twitter showcases some art by artists with links to each. And these are of the Undercity, Shadowmoon Valley, Teldersill, and Thunderbluff. And then the official Warcraft account showed a tweet for Fan Art Sunday of amazing fan art by Amanda/Ware Magnus. And then Bleach Rainbows on Twitter has made an amazing commission for At the Highblade, and I love this. And then Hanavan has made an amazing fan art of Pelagos in the Shadowlands wearing the trans flag. If you're not aware, Pelagos has become one of my heroes in the Shadowlands. Pelagos was female and then made the transition to male in the Shadowlands. And Blizzard has honored Pelagos by respecting his choice to have he/him pronouns. And they even added dialogue about Pelagos talking about his choice. Then we've got a custom orc model of an orc shield maiden by Sir Thompshire Machinima. And then Eldrickson in the Morally Grey podcast Discord shared the Azeroth and Skyrim mod. The description is this mod aims to recreate the Border of Azeroth from Warcraft. It features new lands, locations, dungeons, new items, and quests based on Warcraft's lore. And then Serenity Knight pointed me to a new bag add-on called Sorted. It replaces the Bags, Bank, and Reagent tab with a new list. You can search, categorize by item type, mark items with a raid icon marker, like I mark items to sell on the auction house with a green arrow, items to vendor with the red X. Jennifer was watching as I was trying it out on stream and pointed out how it shows your other tuned inventories too. You can even browse your bank and reagent tab as long as you've cashed it one time in the app when you're not at your bank. I'm trying it out and I want to see how this add-on improves. So far, I'm liking it a lot. Sharku, Mania for Azeroth, and Trarch have a new podcast called Rested XP. Episode 0 is out now, and they said that they will talk about topics like mental health, relationships, and social issues. Before we end this section, I want to shout out some Twitch streamers in the community. There are so many, but 2 for this week are Lucas of Frank's Hot Sauce Guild, who is almost to affiliate. I've been checking out their streams. Really cool individual, and Austin has been very supportive of FrazlCast and my streams. Make sure to give them a follow. I want to see them as affiliate. And as well, make sure to check out my friend Hottie Chicken, who made partner this past week. Hottie and Mal have been working on creating an inclusive and positive community, and they've done an amazing job. If you're in my time zone, they're in the mornings, but they are a great way to wake up in the morning. Hottie is a joy to watch, and I got to talk with her on Stories on Azeroth, so give her a follow, and way to go on this amazing milestone, my friend.
This has been another awesome episode of FrazlCast. Take it away, Frazzle Pants.
Thank you, Scruffy. A shout out to Austin of Frank's Hot Sauce Guild, who said, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. However, if you don't listen to this episode or any of FrazlCast, then you, my friends, are in the wrong. This was for the recent episode with Jerry Rocha. Cap retweeted the post, and then Demeanor says they've been listening and not finished, but enjoying it so far. And then a shout out to Agelos, who joined me in Twitch while I was doing a beta stream and said that they listen to FrazlCast while mowing the lawn. I'm glad that this podcast cuts it. Okay, probably should make a retraction on that after I'm done. That pun was so bad. And also, Spaz posted in Discord that I'm going to need to make a retraction that they have not played Octopath Traveler. They had too many games to play when it came out and never bought it. Over on YouTube, I'm on the road to 100 subscribers. I'm at 71 subscribers right now. And compared to Twitch, a YouTube subscriber does not cost anything. But this is just subscribing to have my videos show up in your subscriptions. And I've made a change to my YouTubes. I've been doing the Be Great Today podcast for a long time. And there I've been Jonathan Bloom / Frazley Sparkspan. I told different people that I'm actually taking on in my life the identity of Frazley even more than my legal name of Jonathan Bloom. So Be Great Today is now Frazley. And as such, I've actually moved Be Great Today over to my Frazley Twitter, as well as over to the Frazley YouTube starting this week. I figured I don't want to mask my feelings, but you definitely do want to wear a mask. And Lucas showed off pictures of their face masks that they bought. I've got 2 out there, Bree Awesome and Be Awesome. They're on my TeePublic store. I've got a link in the show notes. And every week, I like to thank those who have given back to the show financially. And over on Twitch, thank you to Mal for the donation. They tipped enough. Once the community redeems the pizza, I have enough to buy the pizza. Thank you to Harlow, Mal, and Honey Chicken for the gift of subs this past week. And thank you to all my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Amanda of Geek Herring, Austin of Frank's Hot Sauce Guild, Rico of Third Faction Show, Burkhart, Cap, Chainsmoker 258, Chaotic Goodish, Crunk, Demeternoth of Third Faction Show, Des Mephisto, Epic and Sandy of Frozen Nerds, Van Dangley, Fat Bob 1, Fiesta Taco 1983, Jen of Marley Gray Podcast, Grand Nagus of Corpse Run Radio and Control Alt WoW, Arlo, Jetta Faye, Jendon, Corinsa, Kiki Material Girl, Lucas of Cardiac Valley, Mal, Manny of Frazroth and Rested XP, Michael of Two Nerds Maybe More and the Genome Project, Mikey of Rocky Mountain Blizzcast, Monica of Geek Herring, Only Shadowkin, Pete of Storage on Azeroth, Razarus, Remedies of Ponecast, Rig of Charactercraft, Rob's Crippling Depression, Scissorlord, Spaz Weston, Talvedos, Teleroid, Wicked Kitten 13, and Zortz the Goblin. And thank you to Trash Ella for the bits this week. If you want to support the show financially, please go to support.gnomepodcast.com. And if you have Twitch Prime with Amazon Prime, you can use your free Twitch Prime subscription on my channel and get access to ad-free viewing, awesome emotes, and every bit of your support goes helping support this labor of love. Thank you so much. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. There you can catch past episodes and find out many of the places where you can get the Gnome Train coming to you every single week. Well, until next time, be awesome.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard Games, and they are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. This show is for the community, and it contains contributions from the community. The Gnome Train intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth. The opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock. The Gnome Roar is by Jen of Morley Gray Podcast. And the Frazzle Pants bumper at the end is by the Scruffy Druid of Loot Optional and Viral Voice Arts.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.
It's been fun. Farewell!